there, ghouls and gals, and anyone who just stumbled onto my channel. My name's Hillary, and tonight we are going to be covering the unsolved death of Natalie Wood. And oh my gosh, this one drives me crazy. So before we get started, I just want to do a little bit of a backstory on Natalie. She started acting at the age of 4, and she did a lot of movies like Rebel Without a Cause, Miracle on 34th Street, and A West Side Story. She was born into a Russian immigrant family, so she was a little bit poor. Her mother was always pushing her to act, so it kind of resulted in their relationship being a little bit tumultuous. They argued a lot. She didn't really have much of a childhood because she was always going to auditions, always acting, and her mom kind of always strived for her to be her best. And also, I should really say that her mom got her fortune told one time when she was young, and it said that she was going to have a very famous daughter, and also that somebody in her family, they didn't know who, was going to drown in dark water. So that resulted in Natalie at a very young age to always be scared of the water, never learned to swim, never went near water unless she was in a boat. If she was in a boat for some reason, she was okay. But yeah. On the weekend of November 29th, 1981, Natalie, her husband, Robert Wagner, who played number 2 in Austin Powers, and the actor Christopher Walken, all ended up on board of the Splendor. And the Splendor was Robert Wagner's boat and Natalie's, and they owned it together. They actually did a lot of boating together. And this weekend in particular, they decided to take their boat to Catalina Island in California. So the first night of this long weekend, Natalie and her husband, Robert Wagner, ended up getting into an argument. Robert Wagner didn't like the idea of Natalie spending a lot of time with Christopher Walken, was very irritated. So that night, the argument resulted in Natalie asking the captain to take her ashore, and they ended up spending that time in a hotel, slept overnight, and then in the morning, they went back to the Splendor. Now, the second night, Natalie, Robert Wagner, Christopher Walken, and the captain all went ashore to a local bar. They ended up having a couple drinks and kind of stumbling back into their boat or their dinghy and rowed back to the boat. While they were on board on the Splendor, Robert and Natalie again got into a fight, and this is all alleged because it's coming from the captain. The captain just recently came out with his side of the story, which he neglected to tell authorities the time that it actually happened, which was 1981. Now, what the captain said is that he heard Robert and Natalie, they were arguing, which resulted in Robert Wagner smashing a wine bottle and accusing Natalie and Christopher Walken of relations. By that point, Natalie and Walken kind of went back to their own rooms, which resulted in Robert Wagner following Natalie back to their room, the captain going above, and then Christopher Walken going to his bed to sleep. Now, sometime during the night, after the captain said that he heard all the arguments stop, he went down to go check to see if everything was okay. And he saw Robert Wagner standing on the back of the Splendor, saying that Natalie had gone. The captain has suggested that he turn on the floodlight, and Robert Wagner urged him, like, no, don't turn on the floodlight. She'll come back on her own terms, blah, 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 blah. Which the captain took as a little bit strange and ended up checking the rest of the boat to see if Natalie was there. Robert Wagner, I guess, asked him to go check. So he went to Christopher Walken's room where Christopher Walken was sleeping and went back, and Natalie was not on board the boat. Now, Natalie wasn't found until about 7:30 in the morning the next day, and she was found face down in the water about a mile away from the Splendor. And also the boat was found, or the little dinghy was also found floating pretty far away from the boat at this point. Now, of course, when the police asked Robert Wagner, he said nothing happened, there wasn't a fight, that night, and Natalie must have just slipped. She must have just slipped going to the dinghy to tie it up because it was banging against the boat and she didn't like the sound. Now, I find that a little bit strange because why would somebody who had a captain, by the way, mind you, that she had asked the previous night to take her back to shore, why would she go tie a dinghy herself when she is afraid of water? Plenty of times Robert Wagner had said that he was the one that would go back and tie the dinghy, so I don't understand why in the middle of the night Natalie would go by herself to go tie a dinghy to the side of the boat. Like, you're rich, you're from Hollywood, you pay people for this, why? Now, at some point in the night as well, there was a boat. There was two nearby boats, and one was having a boat party, and the other one claims to have heard a woman yelling, "Please help me, help me." And then a condescending voice maybe saying, "Oh, we'll come get you, honey." There was also, but because there was a party coming from another boat, we can't be sure what they heard, where they heard it, but I still find it a little bit weird. Seeing as the next few days, there was a doctor and investigators found scratches on the side of the dinghy, which could have come from rocks, but for me, maybe it came from a person who was in water asking for her husband's help, and her husband maybe just allegedly let her drown. I don't know. In the end, Robert Wagner, Christopher Walken, and the captain all said that she must have just slipped. She must have just fallen. Something happened. And the case was closed to accidental drowning. It was later, I think, reopened in about 2011 because the captain came out with all the things saying that there was a fight that went on. But we don't know. We still don't know to this day what happened to Natalie Wood. Now, I want to go on to what I think, because I think she was pushed, honestly. Like, I don't know why a woman would go to the side of the boat to untie a dinghy when she has someone. She asked for someone to take her. And also, even if Robert Wagner did irritate her, why would she take herself to shore when the previous night she asked the captain to drive her? That just doesn't really make sense. And on top of that, if you are on a 55-foot boat, you all are on a 55-foot boat, how does one slip, hit their head, and fall, and nobody hear you? I don't know if any of you have been on water, but usually sound echoes, sound travels across. So even if she was to slip and fall and hit herself, I would imagine one of the three other people on board might have heard something. But no one heard anything, and it was an accidental fall. She slipped and fell. I'm sorry. Like, I really think that something, or at least someone knows what happened. It was either the captain heard something, Robert Wagner heard something, or Christopher Walken heard something, or they all heard something, and maybe they just don't want to get each other in trouble, and they're just saying, she fell. So that's it for the unsolved death of Natalie Wood. I hope you guys like it. I hope it was a decent video for you to watch. And if you want to like or subscribe, or even leave a comment, if you want to leave a comment and say, yo, you messed up, like, I'd love to hear it. Thanks, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye.